Well, thank you, Amy, for your unbelievably powerful testimony about what happened to you and why these reforms are so necessary. I also want to thank Don Christensen, who has labored as the president of Protect Our Defenders to represent men and women from the armed services in their pursuit of justice. Both of their voices truly make a difference. We will also hear from the president of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veteran Association, Tom Porter, in a few moments. I really want to thank Senator Grassley. He has been, as chairman and ranking on the Judiciary Committee, fundamental to this entire process over the last 8 years. He was the earliest Republican lead who was willing from the beginning to take on the status quo and to demand justice for our service members, to build a military justice system that is worthy of the sacrifice. And we would not be here without his steadfast support over these last 8 years. I want to thank Senator Ernst, not only for sharing her own experiences as a commander in the military, but sharing the experiences of her daughter as a student at West Point and as an advocate for the men and women who serve in this military. She knows all too well the challenges while being deployed. She knows the challenges of what it's like to be a commander, and she knows that this system is fundamentally broken. So her leadership today is extremely meaningful because this is the only Republican woman service member, veteran, who has had active duty and combat. She understands what's at stake. I also want to recognize our other new co-sponsors. I want to thank Mark Kelly, also having served and been a commander. He understands what's at stake and why this reform will make the military the strongest in the world when it comes to prosecuting these cases. And I want to thank our other stalwarts who have been here from the beginning. I want to recognize Ted Cruz. I want to recognize Rand Paul. I want to recognize Senator Dick Blumenthal and Mazie Hirono and the countless other senators who have been in the trenches on this issue from the beginning. This new coalition will make the difference of passing this legislation. I am certain of it. We also have the two women combat veterans in the Senate on this bill. Having Joni also with Tammy Duckworth, again, shows the strength and collaboration of all who are behind this reform. So let me just tell you a little details about the bill. Sexual assault in the military is an epidemic. It has been for a very long time. The military has been keeping track of the numbers in very considerable detail since 2010. The most recent report from the Department of Defense found that almost 20,000, or estimated that almost 21,000 service members were sexually assaulted in 2018. That number tells us that it makes them more likely to be sexually assaulted by a fellow service member than be shot by the enemy at war. This same report also revealed a record low rate of conviction. It's clear that this system is not working. We cannot have good order and discipline when crimes like these are occurring within our ranks and when the culture on base is one not of justice, but of retaliation. I have heard from so many survivors like Amy, who bravely came forward in search of justice only to have their cases outright declined and then face more harassment and retaliation because she came forward. The most recent Pentagon survey found that 2 in 3 survivors reported retaliation because they reported a crime against themselves. It's simply unacceptable. We owe it to our service members to do more to prevent these crimes and to properly prosecute them when they occur. Now is the time for our legislation, the Military Justice Improvement and Increasing Prevention Act. Our bill will require the military to take steps to help prevent the occurrences of serious crimes like sexual assault by improving things like the physical security of our military installations, increasing the training and education on military sexual assault, not just for the service members, but also for the commanders. This bill will also ensure that when these crimes are committed, justice is delivered. It does so by taking the same approach to these cases that the military takes in most every other area of operation. It puts highly technical, difficult work in the hands of those who have the most expertise to know how to complete that mission. We need trained specialists. This is a bipartisan and common sense reform that removes the decision of whether to prosecute serious crimes to trained, independent military prosecutors, while misdemeanors and uniquely military crimes stay exactly where they are, within the chain of command. By moving this work off the commander's plate, it will empower the command to focus on mission-critical issues, rebuilding the trust among their ranks, and building the military readiness that is required. Our legislation also ensures that the Department of Defense helps those specialists, like criminal investigators and military prosecutors, to develop the high level of skills that they will need to properly handle these cases, conduct investigations, and make sure that justice is done. Our service members and our survivors deserve nothing less. As you can see from the group of senators gathered here today, this legislation is not partisan and it is not political. It's simply doing the right thing for our service members who do so much for us. I would now like to introduce Senator Grassley, who has been a vision and a leader on this issue from the very beginning. Senator Grassley.